Welcome back to Gossip Chapter. Today we step beyond celebrity and into chaos as the Middle East is engulfed in a firestorm of war, power, and global shock. What began as whispered threats has erupted into one of the most dangerous escalations in recent history. On the night of June 4, 2025, Israel launched a series of devastating airstrikes into Iranian territory. The strikes were in retaliation for what Israel claims was a coordinated drone and cyber attack that took out portions of its civilian energy grid and resulted in 17 deaths. Tel Aviv's hospitals were overwhelmed. Power outages rolled across entire neighborhoods. Israel's prime minister called it an act of war. Within hours, Iran declared a full state of emergency, activated its Revolutionary Guard, and responded with missile strikes targeting military installations in Haifa, Dimona, and northern border towns. Reports say over 650 lives have been lost in the first 72 hours, with thousands more wounded. Several Iranian cities now suffer rolling blackouts, and both nations have deployed long-range missile systems, sparking fears of a broader regional war. Lebanon's Hezbollah has declared support for Iran. Protests have exploded across the Arab world, while Israel has formally asked the UN to invoke emergency powers. And in the middle of all this chaos, millions of innocent civilians are bracing for what comes next. If you thought this couldn't get more volatile, think again. In response to Iranian missile threats against U.S. military contractors in Iraq and drone activity near U.S. Navy vessels in the Strait of Hormuz, President Morgan declared America would neutralize all hostile threats against its interests and allies. Within 12 hours, the U.S. military launched Operation Iron Horizon, a direct bombing campaign hitting 14 Iranian military targets. These included a high-security air defense base in Esfahan, a suspected nuclear lab near Natanz, and major radar systems guarding the Gulf coastline. Tehran was quick to respond, calling the U.S. an aggressor state and accusing Washington of violating international law. Russian and Chinese officials have issued joint condemnations, while NATO allies hold emergency sessions, split between condemnation and quiet support. Inside America, the situation is spiraling politically. Protests erupted overnight in New York, Chicago, and San Francisco, with crowds chanting "No war for oil" and "Bring our troops home." But the biggest concern, a regional wildfire. Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon are already seeing proxy militias mobilize. Israel has placed anti-missile shields on red alert. Meanwhile, oil prices have spiked to a 15-year high, sending global markets into chaos. Diplomats warn, the world hasn't been this close to a full-scale global conflict since 2003. As missiles fly and alliances fracture, the world watches in dread. Are we witnessing the beginning of World War III, or will cooler heads prevail? Share your thoughts below, and subscribe to Gossip Chapter, because sometimes the real drama isn't on the red carpet, it's on the battlefield.